The Edmonton Oilers fall to the New Jersey Devils 3-0. I said it in the nasty chat. Tough to win when you can't score. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream Postgame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you inside the EST Satellite Studios in downtown Edmonton. Hernan Salas holding things down back at EST HQ on the city's west side. And Matt Kassian will be joining us, our game analyst, in a couple of minutes. We'll also hear from Reed Wilkins from The Reed Wilkins Show. He is working the locker room right now as the Oil fall to 6-1 on the season. We'll break it all down. Text us, as always, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat as well. Tell us your thoughts on the game. What bothered you about it, maybe some elements you might have liked, and where you think the Oilers are at now, 13 games into the season after playing last night, getting that win in Calgary. Tonight looked like, in the third period, at least to me, that they ran out of juice. Good first two periods, they just couldn't score. And Jersey's a good team. So I want to hear from you, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can text us. And then again, if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hit the thumbs up button as we get going here. Let's go to Hernan Salas and see how the Latino Heat's doing tonight. Nanso, your thoughts on this one as the Oilers lose at 3-0?
Yeah, New Jersey Devils are not the Calgary Flames, and they are not the Nashville Predators. They're a hell of a team. Their goalie was outstanding. The Oilers had some looks. Tom Podkolzin has to finish that play. Enrique hits the crossbar. But, I mean, you got to buckle down and get some goals here. I know Cass sent us a great breakdown of the PK that we'll get to with him. Mm-hmm. And just this PK, like one of our old colleagues said, awful. The PK can go straight to hell because they're awful, Tom. Like, absolutely awful, and I can't wait till Cass breaks it down. It's just so many errors, and you don't get a save. And then look at the penalty. Bouchard and Ekholm are in the play, Tom. They're focused on the play. Why is Emerson jumping on the ice?
I don't know.
Bouchard wasn't even trying to get off the ice, and Emerson jumps on, and boom, boom, it's a goal, and you're done. So frustrating in that aspect. The power play I don't like it with the two defensemen. I don't.
It was bad.
They didn't create much. No. Bouchard's driving me absolutely crazy right now. Just so lax, man. So just nonchalant, and he loses a few pucks here and there, and the camera focuses in on him, and he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, that's a tough play. Like, come on, man. Some urgency. And Tom, I get it. I know that's how he is, but it's driving me nuts. But the special teams killing this team, the lack of finish. And we said it, Tom, that Draisaitl line's going to need help, and they're not getting it. I mean, Henrique, Brown, Yanmar not bringing much. The fourth line was gone.
They had chances. Yanmar, Henrique, Brown, they had chances. They just couldn't finish. You mentioned it, the bar. Henrique had a couple, but Podkolzin. But, yeah, I get it. Like, you need to score goals to win games. This team early on this season has struggled to score goals. Last night they get 4, one of them into the empty net, obviously, but man, oh man. That Podkolzin one, that to me stood out the most because it was a wide open net. That line was cooking a little bit. You're right. They do need support, and they haven't gotten it so
and look
far.
Look at the first goal, Tom. All 5 Oiler players are behind the faceoff dot. It's a 5-on-2.
Yes.
And Nason's able to just walk in, and some people are putting this on. Listen, I have no issues with Calvin Pickard tonight. I'll be honest. I mean, if you want to pick a goal, maybe, I don't know which one. Maybe the second one kind of, I don't know, Tom, but Calvin Pickard for me is the least of the problems for this team tonight. It's for me, the biggest concern is the PK, Tom. Like, they are awful, truly awful.
It stinks.
I hate the too many man penalty because, like I said, Emerson jumps on when both defensemen are looking at the play. Like, they're not even trying to come off. Like, it's just one of those things where, and hey, kudos to New Jersey. They're a good team. They're fast, man, and they're physical, and they got good goaltending tonight. So, yeah. What'd you think of the broadcast?
You tell us, 780-218-99. I caught like 8 minutes of it when I got back to my place. And
I guess, yeah, you're at the game. Sorry, Tom.
I know Blake. I've known her for a few years. She's a nice girl. Obviously decorated hockey history and what she was able to accomplish as a player. And now she's just getting into the broadcast game. It takes time. And It's a national broadcast, so it takes time. But she looks. I'm watching them right now, and she's with Andy, who's absolutely phenomenal. So they'll find their rhythm. Johnny Forsland's excellent. He's a pro's pro. Same with Shane Knighty. Yeah, those guys, like, they have good people on the broadcast. I saw some stuff. I saw Wannick post something about the Stan Bowman interview. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Yeah. I'll take a look when I get a chance. But let us know your thoughts. 780-218-9999, the first Amazon Prime broadcast for the Oilers. And they will have another one in a couple weeks when they are in Montreal on the 18th. So we want to hear from you about the game, obviously, about the broadcast. Let us know. Cass is standing by, so I'm going to get into the scoring summary and game stats for this one as we break down Edmonton's 3-0 loss to the New Jersey Devils. Like Hernan was talking about, the Latino heat got a bit spicy there. I like it. Picante. Stefan Nason scores his 6th of the year from Paul Cotter and Jesper Bratt. 5:18 in, just was given a lane to just walk in. Nobody uncontested really in the slot, and he fires it past Calvin Pickard. 1-0 for the Devils after one. The Oilers outshoot New Jersey 13-10 in that first period. To the second we go. Jesper Bratt gets his second point of the night on the power play, his third goal of the season from Hischier and Hamilton. Very soft in the slot on the coverage. The PK, not good, man. It is awful. It came into this game at like 62%, and it's only going to get worse as it continues to leak away goals on a daily basis. Pardon me, it was at 61.8% going into tonight. Bratt's third makes it 2-zip, 16-34, under the pad of Calvin Pickard on the one-timer sweep, let's call it, in the third period. I should add, too, that the Oilers in the first two periods had a lot of opportunities. Mm-hmm. They really did, especially in the second period. I thought the Oilers played a good second period. Couldn't convert anything. Could not convert their chances. The guys on the broadcast in the last few minutes that I did have a chance to actually hear, they mentioned there was a lot of one-and-dones for the Oilers. A couple of lines were able to sustain pressure, but obviously not enough to get to Jake Allen. And Allen, when he was tested, came up big for the Devils. Shots at that point after two, 24-13 in favor of Edmonton. And in the third period, Timo Meier off the Dawson Mercer alley-oop. Clever play. Two defensemen come over, and they go over to Mercer, and that was a really heads-up play by Mercer, and Timo Meier tucks it home. He's a good goal scorer. He's got 6 on the year at 9:25, put the game on ice. New Jersey, just 3 shots in that third period, as the same thing as the second period. They only had 6 shots in the last 2 periods. Edmonton outshoots Jersey 31-16, but cannot score tonight. Face-offs, Edmonton with 48.9%. Jersey winning the face-off battle at 51.1%. Power play for the Devils, 1 for 1. You know what that means for the PK, 0 for, just like the power play, 0 for. Nanso said it. He hit it right on the head earlier. This special teams is awful for the Oilers group right now through 13 games. Hits 19-5 in favor of the Devils. Block shots 14-9 also in favor of the Devils. And giveaways, according to the off-ice officials, 19 for Edmonton to 12 for New Jersey. Edmonton with 7 takeaways to the Devils, 5. The final 3-0 in favor of those New Jersey Devils as we welcome in our game analyst, Matt Kassian, to help us break this bad boy down. Nanso was pretty fired up. Cass, I know you're just hopping on to the broadcast when Nanso was getting going, but I agree with everything he said. And this was a night where you can't get past Jake Allen. Good on him for playing well, but I don't know. In the third period, too, it seemed like they run out of gas. What'd you see tonight, Cass?
Yeah, not a lot of gas or jump or life in the third period. There was flashes and moments when that third goal went in. I mean, the wind went out completely.
Awful. I mean, it was over. Yeah,
it was over at that point on a turnover that Zach Hyman knows he can't make.
Good point.
You know, he no one has to tell him that he can't turn the puck over at the blue line like that. It was a great little flip too. I mean, it was a nice play and a good finish by Timo Meier on that play. But no gas in the sails in the third. Now they had good jump, I thought, in the first. Like, first was an okay period. Second, I thought was a good period, but they could not find a way to score. Your penalty kill just lets you down again, guys. I mean, a 1-goal game, you're down 1, you have an okay first, you have good puck possession and probably the lion's share of the opportunities in the second. You take a penalty that you shouldn't take, and your penalty kill goes 0% on the night. Or so tough one again with that. And I sent you guys a couple snapshots.
Yep.
Of that one, just ugly again in terms of penalty kill execution, position execution to leave the most dangerous guy on the ice wide open by the Edmonton forwards. Just sloppy on the penalty kill, an area that you need to absolutely clean up. And that's, for me, I don't know if you picked a turning point in the game, but for me, that's the turning point in the game. You were in it until that, but down 2 goals. New Jersey kind of went into a shell where it was like a collapse everybody back, use those big bodies in front, a lot of block shots at that point. They know you guys mentioned the one and done that they said on the broadcast, and I completely agree. There was a lot of one and done because New Jersey everybody collapsed at the front of the net. They knew they didn't need another goal. They didn't have to try to push it offensively, and then Edmonton just ran out of gas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do the turning point of the game, Cass, because you kind of alluded to it there. Turning point of the game presented, as always, by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, where they treat you like the pros. Their multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, they treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point is lay it on us, my friend.
I am going to go the Oilers going 0 for 1 on that penalty kill. The second goal for the New Jersey Devils. That is absolutely the turning point in the hockey game.
It's so sad that an 0 for 1 is like, well, it's valid to be the turning point, but because of what the lead up has been with how bad the special teams are as a whole, and then the PK, that we go, well, that was it. And it to me, at least, I'm laughing. Hernan laughed. I think it is sad, but it is indicative of where they're at when they're on special teams, which is a far cry from where they were last June, where they were from mid-November on, where the special teams were a strength. The PK got better. The power play was obviously in the top 5. And now we're looking at a power play that can't figure it out, barely getting into the zone. Today's power play that they did have was so uneventful and listless. It made the penalty kill, which failed miserably, look respectable.
Like the power play just sucked the life out of the team at that point, guys. And the
that was a bad one.
And like Nuge had the puck on the side at one point, and he just put it on net because he was pretty much like, where else do I go with this? Like I'm out of options. I'm just gonna throw it on net, and hopefully Allen, something happens or goes off a skate or something like that. But yeah, that it has to be the special teams, Castle. You hit it right on the head there, and the PK, I guess. Can you break it down, kind of like how you texted Tom and I, because I think our listeners would really like to know. Because there's one main mistake there, but I just want you to kind of describe it for our listeners, if you can.
Yeah, I can break it down here, but play starts when it moves up the wall. I'm going to pull it up here because I have it in front of me. But really, what happens? It's a miscue and a miscommunication between your F1 and your F2, so your 2 forwards. So, right. Puck comes up the wall. You get zone entry, you're fine. They get zone entry, they have possession, you're D, fine. Now it starts with the F1, so I'm trying to see who that is. I think that's Henrique. Yep. So Henrique up on the wall. Now his path, I didn't love his path. Now if you watch on the defenseman too, you have 2 TV turns. So instead of stops and starts, you have 2. I'm going to dig my edges in and do a turn and take myself out of position. So for Darnell Nurse in the corner means he's a little bit slower getting back to the front. For Adam Henrique, it means his path takes him out too high. So with that high path now, you have Derek Ryan, I believe, Matthias Yanmar, don't want to blame the wrong guy, who then tries to fill. So Yanmar then goes into a top pressure move. Now, the point of doing top pressure where you put your stick up ice, trying to not let the puck come back through the middle because you don't want it to change sides, is to try to push the puck to the corner. Now, the issue with him doing that here is he has to know, and he's looking at Adam Henrique, knowing that Adam Henrique is about 5 feet outside the dots, which is where you don't want to be as a forward. So you're caught way outside the dots. Now, he goes into top pressure to try to push him down, and he's not covering anybody. He's not covering anybody. His stick is in the position where he's trying to deny the pass out to Dougie Hamilton at the point. But Dougie Hamilton's not the dangerous player in this instance. No, puck is switching sides. As a forward, you have to know in the middle forward, that T intersection is your responsibility. First and foremost, yes, you don't want the puck to go to the point, but you'd rather have the puck at the point than right in the middle of the slot, right between the hash marks. Like, grade A as grade A gets, right in the middle, knowing that your defenseman, so Darnell Nurse, who also does a TV turn in the corner, is coming back to the net. Now, that fan out player on the wall that has the puck, that's the defenseman's guy. Now, his job is to step out, get a stick in that lane, front the shot, try to force him to make a pass. But as a forward, you have to know that there's a guy in the slot. You have to. So for Yanmar and Henrique here, I'm going to blame them more than Nurse, because Nurse does get back to the front of the net, but his guy isn't the guy in the slot. That's Matthias Janmark's guy, who he basically completely abandons to try to, again, pressure down to force a puck into the corner, but it's not a puck into the corner situation. This is a attack situation. Dougie Hamilton at the point is not the dangerous guy. Your stick's on the wrong side, should be flipped inside. You shouldn't be taking an up to down path. You should have thrown on the brakes, taken 2 steps back down with your stick towards the middle to eliminate any through seam passes. You did not do it. The puck's in the back of the net. So I'm gonna blame Yanmar is going to be your primary, Henrique secondary, because I hated his path and it forced Yanmar to make a decision that he shouldn't have made on that. But that's just, guys, that's just miscommunication and misreading the situation, and that has happened way too frequently on the penalty kill. It just can't. You cannot leave a player wide open, unattended in the slot. You cannot. And it's not Darnell Nurse. He's got the guy in front. It's not Ekholm. He's got the fronting the shot from the dot position. He has to go out. You can't let that guy skate in. Matthias Janmark did a horrible job on that. And yeah, it's just another unacceptable penalty kill.
The Oilers have allowed 14 goals on 35 penalties or times shorthanded. That is awful. Absolutely awful. So, Cass, excellent.
It's an automatic, right? Like it's an automatic right now. Yeah. Because generally you take more, and they only took 1 tonight. Generally you take more than 1 penalty a game. Usually it's more than that. Yeah. But it's a goal a game that you have to overcome. Right? It's a goal a game you have to overcome. Now, if your power play is pumping along at a 28 to 30% clip, well, you're I don't want to say you're okay with it. You're still not okay with going 50% on average on your penalty kill, but at least you have some bounce back in your special teams. But the power play hasn't been performing nearly as well as it should or as it has in the past. And your penalty kill let you down. And we saw this at stretches last year, and they were so good killing in the playoffs. But right now, guys, it's just a tire fire.
That's your advantage. Sports medicine and physiotherapy. Turning point of the game, that PK goal against Cass with an excellent deep dive into it, the soft spot in the middle. Really quickly, Cass, Nanso was talking about some texts that were coming in, maybe via the nasty chat, but people saying they didn't like Pickard and the goals he allowed. That goal, any of the other ones, what would you say to those that maybe are pointing the finger at Edmonton's goaltending tonight?
Well, on the Pickard one, again, you have a guy into the slot, you have a pass, he has to look through bodies, you got a guy jumping in front of him, and a guy, again, blasting it from between the hash marks. From between the hash marks on his one-timer side. So it's a one-timer from the hash marks. Like, how often should you get a one-timer from between the hash marks? You should.
In the NHL, it's super rare.
In the NHL, it should not happen. Yeah. It should not happen. So I'm not going to fault Pickard on that one. You're not going to fault him on the Timo Meier one. Guy coming with all kinds of speed on a breakaway, makes a nice move, gets a goal. Like, that's a toss-up from a goaltending standpoint. Now, if you want to look at the Bratt one and say, I would like him to have that. The Nosen one. Nason. Yeah, if you'd say like maybe he should have that one. Okay. I have time for that. With that being said, another guy that's skating almost down into the hash marks untouched that just gets to rip it. And you have traffic in front, not quite goalie interference, but you have two bodies there with Darnell Nurse and the Jersey's forward there. So it's like, he's not getting a clean look at that one either. So, I didn't necessarily love that one, but you're not pinning it on Calvin Pickard saying, oh, this was a horrible goal. And at the end of the day, guys, he could stop two of those other goals, and Edmonton didn't get one.
Still,
right? Like they only needed one to win. So let's not pin this on Pickard. He wasn't great, but he wasn't horrible. The team couldn't find a way to give him any run support.
Hard to win when you don't score. Go ahead, Nitzel.
When you look at the PK, like, what is it a system thing? Is it communication? Is it personnel that they lost? Like, because it's going to take a lot to turn this PK around, Cass. Because like you said, they're getting one or two opportunities, and they're going 100% almost on every night. The other team.
My answer to your question of what is it is yes.
All of it.
That's the answer. Yes. From a system standpoint, like, it's not the system in and of itself, the penalty killing system. It's the execution of the system. Now, is that a personnel issue? Well, partially. I mean, you did lose a lot of your penalty killers, right? And you have new bodies in that are trying to figure it out, trying to figure out how to work with one another and tendencies and get the programming right. And at the end of the day, guys, I mean, you have to find ways to kill penalties, and you can't make gross mistakes like they have made. You can't have 5 bell mistakes on the penalty kill. On occasion, teams that are good teams that have good power plays with good players, they're going to make plays and they're going to beat you. That's going to happen, but you have to make them work for it, right? You can't leave a guy untouched in the slot between the hash marks for a 1T. You can't. Like, that's just, you can't let that happen.
Yeah.
And so the answer is yes. Again, it's a little bit of everything. And could they turn it around? Absolutely, they could turn it around. They had an unbelievable penalty kill in the playoffs where they were just kind of mediocre over the course of the season. So is the ability there for teams to, in an instant, in a snap, in one game, get some momentum on the penalty kill? Yes, it is, but it probably is going to take some time, right? It's going to take a couple of games in a row of being really, really solid, not making mistakes, getting some goaltending, getting your clears, and executing positionally what you're supposed to do in the defensive zone. I mean, you're not supposed to leave a guy wide open in the slot. Matthias Yanmar, when they shift into an umbrella position with the 3 guys and Dougie Hamilton's really on the dot on the far side, you can't go into top pressure. You don't go into top pressure.
Awful read.
It's a horrible read by Matthias Yanmar. And really, if you look at that, like, again, if he throws on the brakes, takes 1 to 2 steps down to protect the intersection, the T intersection as we call it, because where the guy has the puck, you protect the through, this straight through. That's is the T intersection guy, which is who Yanmar is in that instant. That is your responsibility. That is your responsibility. Now, if it's a full rotation, yeah, you try to apply some top pressure and push down, but not in a puck just moves side to side. Other defensemen's, basically in the corner of the rink where he's not a threat at all. And I know Dougie Hamilton's a good offensive defenseman. He's good on the power play. He puts up points. He makes plays. He can shoot the puck. He can pass. I get that, but it's a horrible read, and you have to get some momentum from your penalty kill to not make those reads. You're going to have to do it a number of games in a row. Start to build that confidence, because it's a confidence issue now too, right? Like, where the penalty killers don't have confidence in their ability to kill a penalty. The other players on the bench don't have confidence in their ability to kill a penalty. And I guarantee you the coaching staff doesn't have confidence in their ability to kill a penalty, as do the fans, as do us, as does management, as does everybody. The only people with confidence in this scenario is the other team's power play, because they're like, oh, they're probably going to make a big mistake and leave us something. So, if we draw a penalty or two, hey, we're going to get one. And it's just not a place you can be. And it's going to take some time to turn the tide. Could it be a snap instant where you just have one big kill and all of a sudden it clicks? Yeah, it could be. But chances are you're just going to have to work through it, and you're going to have to work through it, guys, by executing.
They have not executed all the PK or the power play at all, as we break it all down. Cass, I love it.
Now do the power play, Cass.
Oh, stop it. He's already dead. I want to get to some text here. There's a bunch of people pointing out Yanmar in the nasty chat. Understandably so. He's supposed to be reliable. He's supposed to be a defensive stalwart and responsible in his own zone. We haven't really seen that, especially on the PK. He, among others, So I see Loomis talking about Yanmar, Banksy talking about Yanmar. This one came in, and I want to know what you guys think about it. It's from Barbershop Window. Said the narrative of the team getting old and slow is hilarious. Before it was they had no depth or vets. Now it's no youth, like losing Holloway. Now, having said that, I bring it up because we talked about it on the pregame show. This would be a test for the Oilers and their team speed. Nanso, what did you think of the Oilers and how they played speed-wise? And then Cass, you as well. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think they were overwhelmed at times, yes, but the Oilers in the second period were pretty good. They handled it pretty well. I thought their D made some – I think Cass, or one of you said it early on, they had good moments in this game, guys.
They really did.
The puck, they were creating offensive opportunities. So I don't think they were overwhelmed where we were like, wow, they can't keep up. But New Jersey is a fast team. They do pressure you. They got a hell of a good three lines that can come at you, nonstop. So for me, I know some people on the Nasty Chat are concerned about the speed, but are they a faster team? Yes, they are. But I don't think the Oilers were overwhelmed tonight by their speed. Again, in glimpses, in certain moments, sure, with a couple of cycles. You guys remember that 4-on-4 where the Oilers had the puck for like a minute and 30?
The whole time.
Yeah. So
they didn't look overwhelmed by the speed at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they gave up 16 shots. Right, it's not like they were in their end. They were on their heels. They were getting attacked. You were giving up all kinds of stuff in the rush. They weren't. It's those big moments. It's having four guys on one side of the net all around the crease in a 2-on-5 situation,
right?
And not recognizing where the danger is coming into the slot, like that. That's not New Jersey's speed. That's your own execution on that. And then we already talked about the penalty kill. And if we look at the third goal, well, that wasn't speed either. Yeah, Timo Meier had speed and you got beat with some speed on that, but that's a horrible turnover at the blue line, which again, Zach Hyman knows, everybody knows. My wife knows that was a bad turnover because she was just like, oh, that wasn't good. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't good. That's not them being beat up by New Jersey's speed. I thought they handled the speed fine. They did really good things. They were the better team through the first two periods. If we look at overall the scope of the play, they just weren't able to put the puck in the back of the net, and a couple mistakes that cost you. And that's the story of the game.
All right, 780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream Postgame show. The Edmonton Oilers falling 3-0 to the New Jersey Devils to kick off this brief two-game homestand. And we want to hear from you. Let's start with Eden. Eden texting in says, "Evening, boys. The Oilers got out hit 19-5 tonight. Looking at the top 10 hitters from last season, Edmonton lost Desharnais, Ceci, Holloway, and Fogle. Is there reason for concern there?" Cass, I'll throw that to you.
Like on the physicality, is there reason for concern? No, there's not. I'm not concerned about the physicality of this team. Now, to say for some of those guys, there's concern about their ability to kill penalties that you don't have, because every single one of those guys was a penalty killer. Sure. Let's have some concern about that. I don't think the physicality, to me, still, it's not like guys that we've seen them or today they were just run out of the building physically. And we haven't seen that happen.
Not a tough team. They're not tough.
Like, no, and they weren't abusive. The Oilers didn't get pushed around. That's to me, that's not an issue. I mean, and from the hit standpoint, and the Oilers not having hits, they had the puck, right? Like, and you're not going to get hits when you have the puck. Yeah. And there were moments. Let's go to the pod calls and open net where it's like, okay, you bury that, all of a sudden it's a different hockey game too. But you didn't find a way to put the puck in when you did have opportunities, and you made a couple big mistakes, and your penalty kill sucks. Like that's what does it.
Guys, there's a good question on the inbox, 780-218-9999. Keep those coming in. It says, guys, time to break up the third line. You're getting nothing offensively, even though they had some opportunities. Henrique hit the crossbar. So he's asking us, so I'll ask you guys, would you flip Henrique with RNH? Would you even consider that move just to maybe get a spark?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's a fair move to make, to say that third line hasn't been producing. That second line, tonight not producing. Yeah, maybe give it a look. Try to get Henrique going a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a different look. Yeah, run with it. Try it.
Hey, let me throw something at you guys too. I know we praised Vasily Podkolzin and his tireless work on the forecheck, and he's like a dog on the bone, and that stuff deserves credit. It absolutely does.
Sure.
He got them going last night in Calgary. He missed that empty net. If you're Jeff Skinner and you're seeing that, what do you think you're thinking in your mind? Like, I would have buried that. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. And I know that was one moment. There was a stick on Podkolzin, but like he flat out missed the 6 feet of net on a tap in that he was given from Draisaitl. If you're going to shuffle up the lines, would you consider changing that line, which the Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Arvidsson line was Edmonton's best line offensively tonight again?
You eventually have to, if you're playing with Draisaitl, you eventually have to start, potting some in, guys. And that's probably his downfall in Vancouver, where he works hard. He wins puck battles. Yeah. He'll get his assists here and there, but it's the finishing, right? And Tom, you saw his reaction when he missed. Like, he knew. He was like, just how did I miss this? Yeah.
Yeah, no. 18,000 people were wondering the same thing tonight.
Yep. More than that. Yeah.
More than that. You're right.
Plus the 5 that have Amazon Prime, yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's go to more text. Jose says the Oilers are playing rec league hockey a lot of nights. They get credited with 5 hits, making it very easy for the Jersey defense. This is not the formula for success. I hate to say it, but they're missing Ceci and Vinny on the PK. Nurse does not know how to defend. That's from Jose. And we talked about Nurse already. I think he's put together a steady season so far in what's been a very turbulent year for this Oilers team at 6-1 now. But yeah, Jose makes a good point. Like Ceci and Vinny Desharnais were very important parts of the PK. Desharnais, what his tentacles or whatever Jay Woodcroft called it, he was excellent on PK. And I know he wasn't great in the postseason. The speed got to him, but he did serve a purpose. And is it the back end on the PK, or are we simplifying it too much here, Cass?
Well, it's everybody, as we talked about. It's everybody. I mean, PKing is it's always a 4-man like problem. Like where it's generally not just one guy. Now, sometimes it is one guy, but generally it's everybody. Like to have a successful penalty kill, everybody has to be on the same page. And they haven't been. Now, do they miss CC and do they miss Vinny Desharnais on the back end of the penalty kill? Absolutely they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely they do. And from a forward standpoint, they haven't helped either. Like they haven't been very good either, as we already talked about with Yanmar on that goal against tonight. Like they haven't been. They have to figure it out. But it's not just the defensemen; it's everybody. It's everybody on the penalty kill that's been an issue.
Yeah, fair point. All right, Cass, last one for you as we look ahead. We'll take a look ahead, but I just want to ask you what you thought of the Amazon Prime experience, and then we'll look ahead to Wednesday against Vegas.
Yeah, well, you can tell it's new. I got to iron out the kinks a little bit, and I mean, it just fresh for some. You can, I think, from an experience standpoint, where they got to iron it out a little bit. But there's some things I really liked about it. Actually, I did like before the game. I liked a little bit of the storytelling instead of just the standard interviews. I thought that was good. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. They were a little more, I'll call it expressive with some of the camera shots. Again, like with interviews, not during the game, but like interviews and. We'll call it style, where it's just a little bit of a different style, and I didn't mind it at all. So there were some really good things about it. Now, again, it's still pretty new. A lot of people that are just figuring it out a little bit, and there are a mix. I mean, I have always appreciated. I played with Shane Knighty, who does a great job. Yes. So you have some of the veteran presence there. It'll continue to improve, but yeah, it was good. I thought for the first one for us to watch for the Edmonton Oilers, I was like, yeah, they did a pretty good job. So I enjoyed it.
All right. Natso, any thoughts on the broadcast?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was good. You know what I noticed, guys? The picture was top notch.
It was
TV
crisp.
here. Yeah, it was crisp, like more crisp than when you're just getting it on regular Sportsnet. So yeah, I didn't mind it. I'm not going to sit here and hate on it and all that. I know there's some tough questions in the intermissions and all that, but that's going to come with, like you said, Tom, experience and time. And they're still trying to figure this stuff out and see what direction they want to go. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good broadcast. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to watch next week, whichever is the game that's being featured on Monday, and then the Oilers are back on Amazon Prime on the 18th in Montreal. Cass, let's take a look ahead to Wednesday. What do you think the next day of preparation is like for the Oil, and then how do they go about taking on the Pacific leading Vegas Golden Knights on Wednesday night?
Yeah, well, that game's going to be a challenge. I mean, the Golden Knights are playing really well right now. They're leading the division for a reason. You know, Mark Stone is having a great year. They've got other guys chipping in and contributing from up and down the lineup. Yeah, they're a good team. So it is going to be a challenge. So how do you go about fixing it? I mean, you pray for Connor McDavid to come back, maybe. That could be part of it. That's the preparation. They're just going to bring in the team chaplain and have a little prayer session for McDavid and his ankle. But in reality, you're probably going to listen. It's not, you just played back-to-back games. So it's not like you're going to have a bagger to try to punish a 3-0 loss. You're going to, I hope they spend some time, and teams. It's what's interesting about the penalty kill is teams generally really, really practice the power play, but you don't often practice the penalty kill. Like you just kind of get it part and parcel.
Yeah.
With the power play, like you kind of get to work on it a little bit, but you're not overly focused on it. But what I like to see them do, I'd like to see them work on that. They should be spending a heck of a lot of time on that video and on ironing out positionally where they need to be, positionally what they're not supposed to do to try to clean that thing up. Now, are they probably going to do that? Probably not. I doubt that they do. If what they're actually going to do, they'll probably have, a little bit of flow worked in. They'll probably work on some structure from a defensive zone standpoint. That's most likely what we're going to see. But I just hope they work on that penalty kill.
It stinks. It just sucks. All right, Cass, fantastic work. Your effort and performance tonight was definitely not sucky. It was top notch as always. Top notch.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent work, Cass. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday, and we'll also see you tomorrow on Two Guys and a Goalie.
Sounds good.
That is Matt Kassian. He's our game analyst. He is excellent, as always, helping us break down Edmonton's 3-0 loss at the hands of the New Jersey Devils. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I think we'll go inside the Oilers locker room at some point, right, Hernan?
Yeah, I will have Adam Enrique, who is named the third star tonight.
He was.
Little
okay.
I mean, sure.
Sure.
I feel like there's pressure on me now to pick him but I don't think he's my pick, Tom. I'm sorry. But yeah, and Coach K, who I kind of want to listen to, and we can play it after, Tom.
Okay.
Because I just want to hear what he had to say about his PK. I'm sure he's being asked. Maybe he's been asked every game.
He has to be asked about it. I mean, 0-for-1. And it's like, it's let one in last night, lets another one. It's automatic. Like Cass and you were saying, like it just, they're going to get scored on. I remember Struddy telling a story a year or two ago when he was on the PK on one of the numerous teams he played for in the National Hockey League. And he was like, yeah, I was on a PK that it felt like every time we went out there, we were getting scored on, and it wears on you, and you have no faith, and you have zero confidence, and the other guys feel it, and you look at your goalie, you're like, sorry, man. And that's where the Oilers are at right now.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting team because it's like I feel like this is who the Oilers are sometimes. Like this is not them.
They played good though, Hernan.
Yeah,
they played good for the first two periods.
But it's always one or two of the details that cost them. And we saw it last year when they started slow and then they turned it around and the details were being taken care of and they were going on a 16-game heater. It's just like, why can't they just buckle down with these details right away? And the PK, like I asked Cass and he's like everything. Like there's really no one thing they need to work on. And like you said, like when they take a penalty on the bench, they must be like, oh boy, here we go again. Tom, the other team can't get one power play and score. And it's been like that. Like it's either 2 for 3 or 2 for 2, or
I know.
It's rare that they're having a good night on the PK and the power play until Connor comes back, because it's interesting because even with Connor, Tom, the power play was struggling mightily, but they need him back because this two defenseman thing doesn't work. Because you know what I know? The two defensemen are on the blue line, and then you have Draisaitl on one wall, you have Nuge kind of circling around, and Hyman in the front. But there's just nowhere to go, Tom, because
there's no movement.
Yeah, they're letting the guys on the point just go back and forth, and then it's easy to kill. And you don't see a lot of power plays in this day and age with two defensemen like you did back in probably 80s, 90s, right, Tom?
Probably. Even back then, it was a lot better. Okay. Well, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Reed Wilkins is standing by. We will go inside the Oilers locker room as well as they fall 3-0. And let's get Reed on here. He's good to go. So
yeah, just give me a sec here. I'm just cropping this.
You're gonna bring him on.
This
awesome.
This handsome man. So let's just give me a sec here. And,
all right, you do your thing. The other game in the NHL tonight saw the LA Kings defeat the Nashville Predators 3-0, by the way. So the Kings have moved into a tie with the Golden Knights atop the Pacific Division standings. The Kings have played one more game than Vegas, so Vegas sits atop the Pacific Division. A chance tonight, if the Oilers had scored a goal or two and won, they would have leapfrog over Calgary and Vancouver. All three teams tied at 13 points in the Pacific. There he is, Mr. Reed Bartholomew Wilkins. Hello, Reed Rick, fresh from the rink. How was the locker room post-game? What did we learn from the players and the coach?
Well, Adam Henrique took responsibility for the penalty kill goal against. He said he took a wrong path to the puck, and that opened things up for that shot. And I got to say, I said earlier today when you and I were on from noon to 1 on the Oil Stream that I thought even though the Oilers had allowed a power play goal in each of the last two games, that they were doing a better job of not getting sliced apart. And then they got totally dissected with that pass today into the middle of the box for a goal. So that was that was not good at all.
Reed, you know what's interesting, Reed? Cass broke it down, and Henrique was the main culprit for Matt Kassian. So
okay, I heard a bit of the penalty kill stuff. I didn't hear that specifically. So yeah, so Henrique took the blame on that one. Pud Colson spoke, and he said he felt very bad about the missed open net. Of course, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's a negative play. That's missing an open net like that is like giving up a goal. You have cost your team a goal, right? So that was not good from a team that's struggling to score. I asked Chris Knobloch, I said something along the lines of there's been a few games now this year where after the game, we've discussed a lot of shots and a lot of chances and not a lot of goals. And I said, are you ultimately doing the right things, and are you busy enough around the other team's net? And he said the stats show that the Oilers are second in the league in slot shots. And I haven't seen that, but I could believe that because there are chances there. I guess I would wonder, Tom and Hernan, and a variation on something we discussed at noon, Tom, are they getting enough second chances in terms of do they really ever create a big pile and jam around the net?
The answer is no.
I don't think they do. Off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's probably one or two I'm missing, but we are 13 games into the season. How many rebound goals have they scored this season? Jeff Skinner scored one in the second or third game of the season. Remember, it was a long rebound, and it came out to him on the right of the net, and he shot it in the open net before the goalie could get across.
Perry in Nashville.
Perry in Nashville would be a rebound goal, yes, because Gazzola took the shot, and Perry danced around the goalie and tucked it in.
Correct.
So, to me, not enough. And I still think this team will score more, and I still think the power play will score, even though it didn't look very good tonight and clearly missed McDavid. But it's a little still confusing to me why they don't have more goals. So I don't think they're busy enough around the net. I don't think they get the puck to the net and then have people there to keep it alive.
Right.
So even though they get a lot of shots on goal, I think they're a little too much one and done. I mean, not as badly as other years or when they didn't have very good teams. But
Right.
I do think that's part of a problem. I heard you when I was driving back, Tom. I believe there was a listener asked about the hit stat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't put much stock in the hit stat. I will refer to it. I probably used to refer to it more on my old show when I was on like you right after the games and hosting, because you give a whole bunch of stats and information for people. I think what the Oilers are lacking in physicality, though, is not just body checking. And I think this is primarily how they miss Warren Fogle. And I know he frustrated people sometimes, and he could go long stretches without scoring. But he occupied the area down low.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little bit like Hyman, not as good, but where he could get over top of the puck and hold people off and keep it alive and get the puck and himself around the net. Now, he did get to 20 goals last year. Maybe he didn't score a ton. So, and then I guess I thought, okay, if the replacement is Arvidsson for Fogle, that's probably a good replacement.
Sure.
But Arvidsson has been more of a shooter looking to take mid-range shots from Leon as opposed to a pest around the net.
Yep.
And Jeff Skinner has probably been more of a pest around the net than Arvidsson now that we're this deep into the season.
It's like
That's
they've
fair.
reversed the roles, Reed.
Or maybe I didn't know the players well enough coming into the season, but I thought from what I'd seen from Arvidsson in the past, that's what he would be.
Can I
Go ahead.
That's just one thing that Reed brought up that in regard to Fogle that I thought of. Fogle, you're right. He was good at doing those things down low, mucking it up. And I know his touch around the net wasn't always fantastic, but he did get the 20 last year. He was good for 10 to 20-ish in that range, around 30 points this season. He's very consistent that way, middle to bottom six type of guy. We get it. But the Oilers don't really cycle the puck anymore, do they? Have we noticed them cycling the puck a lot this year?
Well, I think the skilled guys do, but
okay.
But then it doesn't. But they're looking for one kill shot.
Yeah.
They're not looking for. They're not playing fullback football. They're playing 40-yard touchdown pass football, which is fine. But yes, and we talked about the third line earlier today. They got to finish something, and they have to get in there and wear down the other team. And I don't think there's been a lot of sustained forecheck from that third line. And maybe that 4-on-4 opportunity was indicative of the Oilers' problem. Man, oh man, there were a lot of passes. They didn't really get a good shot. I'm trying to think if Bouchard shot wide on one of them. So,
no.
At some point, you got to get a puck and a body to the net. Now, but the flip side of the other side of my brain is saying they outshot the Devils by a wide margin.
Almost 2-1.
The Oilers were outplayed tonight. They lost the game. I do not think they were outplayed. Quite frankly, I thought it could have been 4-4 after the first period. Both teams missed open nets. And then Colson missed another one in the second period. Both goalies made a couple of good saves. The Devils player shot the puck into the stick of a teammate to not score. So, I mean, there could have been more goals at both ends of the ice. But the Oilers were not outplayed. But then we have to ask ourselves, why do they not continually, but more often than not score? I mean, they've been shut out twice in 13 games. And the Columbus game last Monday was basically a shutout, quite frankly. They got a power play goal with whatever in the last minute from Ekholm. And then a couple other games, they've only scored one goal. So what's going on? I wonder if there's something that needs to be done in terms of crashing the net or looking for a little more garbage than what they've been able to get.
Well, let's go there, Reed. A few of our listeners have been asking, is it time? And listen, I've been saying it, like, leave the lines together, stop changing them every game. Let's build some chemistry. But right now, one question was, would you flip Henrique and Nuge just to see if you can get either of those guys going? Or are you kind of standing pat and leaving the lines as they are until McDavid comes back? Would you like to see some movement ahead of Wednesday's game?
Oh, that's a good question. A week ago, I would have said take Podkolzin out of the top six, but I think he's had 2 good games and then an okay game tonight. He was replaced by Perry for a couple of shifts in the third.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I would do, guys? I would put Draisaitl, Skinner, and Arvidsson back together.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put then I'm not sure what I would do.
Because
Do
then
whatever
you would,
you
leave
want.
Nugent Hyman together. You probably maybe I'd try Podkolzin there, and I would leave the third line alone for now.
I saw somebody.
I think Jeff Skinner needs to get the puck in the scoring area as often as possible.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. Troll texted in 780-218-9999. Troll says, do you guys think it's time for Yanmar to sit a game or two? He's made quite a few mistakes so far this season. When the Oilers only had 12 forwards on the roster, and he had that game where he gave that really bad giveaway against Carolina, and I thought that would have been a perfect opportunity to sit him, get him to think about what he was doing out there that was leading to goals against. And they didn't have anybody to replace him at that time. Now they do. They sit out Gazzola tonight. They don't play him. And Yanmar kind of has some rough moments again. What would you say to Troll asking about Yanmar and maybe giving him a bit of a wake-up call?
Yeah, I know Yanmar's been taking some heat. I still think, and again, I'm reading this off his usage. I still think he's someone the coaches trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the response to that is going to be like, well, lately, what are you talking about? Fair enough. But I don't know. And here's the thing, which is maybe a bigger picture problem with the Oilers, is Drake Gazzola really better than Matthias Janmark? Even if it's a one-game scenario where you want to give Janmark a break, or like Knobloch did with several players last year, hey, I'm not pulling you out forever, but I think you need to sit this one out and just look. Can you put? I mean, Gazzola is quick. I don't know if he's fast. Is he as big as Janmark? No. Could he go on the penalty kill? I don't know, though. I guess you could probably argue you could put 3 ducks and a chicken on the penalty kill and it would do a better job. But I don't know, guys. Like I get the criticism of Janmark, but I personally like the way he plays most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that probably him and Henrique haven't been as effective as you would have liked. Oddly enough, I think Brown's game has been okay, but he still can't really score. But yeah, I mean, that's the third line. Fair comment. Couple guys in the top 6. Yeah, need a little bit more, and then you don't have McDavid right now. So yeah, you're getting shut out on a night like this when you did enough maybe to score 2 or 3.
All right, Reed Rick, quick look ahead to the Vegas game. How do they beat the best team in the Pacific Division? More of what we saw in the first 2 periods, but just convert on a couple, limit the mistakes. How do you see this matchup?
Well, win the special teams battle, which they
good
haven't
luck
been doing.
Gee.
I mean, that's the obvious one. A good game from Skinner. I assume he'll be back in net.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Vegas. They've always been well-rounded, right? They've always had scoring, and they've had the guys who would slash their grandmothers to win a game or to win a Stanley Cup, right? So I think
what a descriptor.
Like play with a little more emotion and desperation too. And it's like to get back to I get the audience members who are saying they got to hit more. Which, yes, body contact is important, of course, but just that desperation, like get first on pucks, lean on a guy, tie up a stick, don't give up on a play, because Vegas plays like that. So match how Vegas usually plays with that emotion and that desperation, and then try to figure something out on special teams in the next 48 hours. It's an optional practice tomorrow, Tom. I don't know if you got the notice yet.
I got the notice.
How much they're going to be working on anything tomorrow.
Not
Maybe
a lot.
A lot of film study.
A lot of film study is right. Edmonton falling to 30th in goals for per game, 2.38. And then when it comes to goals against per game, they are middle of the pack at 315. So can't win if you don't score goals. Reed, they are not scoring, and they didn't even light the lamp tonight with Brendan Moreno in attendance from the UFC.
That's a good point,
that's tough. Yeah. Reed Rick, thank you for hopping on, buddy. Always great to see you. I'll see you in the studios tomorrow, okay?
Thanks for having me. I don't know if I made anybody feel a little bit better tonight. I am finding it hard to explain the low level goal scoring, but hopefully it's still to come. Thanks, guys.
It's just great to see you. Thank you, Reed. There's Reed Wilkins from the Reed Wilkins Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6. Him and Jay Milne, absolutely tremendous show. Our afternoon programming, which also features Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage on EST Afternoons, has been excellent. And I am 100% completely biased, but I stand by my words.
Tommy,
all right.
Do you want to update the listeners on the trade that was made during the game?
Okay. Sure.
I
can do that.
A minor league trade.
Yes, let me reference the official news release that was put out just prior to the start of the game tonight. Let me just read it. The Oilers acquired defenseman Ronnie Attard from Philadelphia. The Edmonton Oilers have acquired Attard from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for defenseman Ben Gleason. Attard is 6'3", 208. He's 25 years old and has spent the past 3 seasons in the Flyers organization, seeing action in 29 career games. He has 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. The right shot defender and Western Michigan University grad was originally selected by Philly in the 3rd round of the 2019 NHL draft, 72nd overall. He's a native of White Lake Township, Michigan. He's also suited up for 123 AHL contests over parts of 3 seasons, with Lehigh Valley tallying 22 goals and 37 assists. Attard will report to the club's AHL affiliate in Bakersfield. So if you're wondering if he's going to be the answer as your right shot guy on the back end, the answer is Hernan.
What's that? Sorry?
No, the answer is no.
No, that's my guy Ben Gleason, though, man. That's sad to see him leave.
It's your boy?
He's my preseason star for the last 2 years.
That's nice. All right. Time now to get to the David Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting.
Oh, boy.
Consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. We turn it over to the Latino Heat for the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Nunso, take it away.
Yeah, I'm not going to go with Adam Enrique that was selected as the 3rd star of tonight's game. He
call.
hit the crossbar, but I don't think he was overly that good on the night. It's a tough one to pick because obviously there was shutout. I don't think anyone really stood out, but I'm going to go with Matthias Ekholm for 2 reasons. He played 28-28 to lead the team. And him and Bouchard were the only even players on the night. Tom, did you know that no other defenseman outside of Ekholm and Bouchard played over 20 minutes?
I was looking at the team stats. Even at forward, the only forward that played more than 20 was Draisaitl. Everyone else was like in the 15. Oh, Hyman played 19:30. Nugent Hopkins 16:35. They're all in the teens. Philp just under 10 minutes.
That's
Perry,
crazy though, because that's with one power play. So sure, add 2 minutes to that, but still they would be at 26 and 25. So, Chris Knobloch playing his top pair a lot tonight. And I thought Ekholm was good. He's feisty. He's playing rough. He does it all for this team. And I think there was some good performances, but I think I have to give it to good old Matthias Ekholm for tonight for the Damon Bunting Player of the Game.
Darnell Nurse, 1852. Brett Kulak, 1617. Emerson, 1314. Stetcher, 1558. Ekholm, like Hernan said, 28 minutes and 28 seconds for the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. All right, are we going to go inside the locker room once or twice? Do you want to hear from the team? Do we have those?
We have Adam Enrique and we have Coach K, so whichever one you'd like, we can.
Let's just pick one.
Okay, let's go with Coach because he's a little bit longer, but I'm intrigued to hear what he had to say.
All right, let's do it.
Here's Chris Knobloch following his team 3-0 loss to the New Jersey Devils.
Few games this season, I feel the discussion after has been a lot of shots and or a lot of chances, but not a lot of goals. Do you feel you're generating the types of chances that lead to goals? Or are you ultimately busy enough around the other team's net?
I think so. I think we're second in the league in shots from the slot. So that's pretty much, if you look at the often it gets skewed about how many shots you get on goal. And, in the past 10, 20, 30 years ago, you'd look at all the shots were 40 to 20 and they must have been the better team if they had the 40 shots. Now it's obviously the quality of scoring chances and where they're coming from. And, I think I know we were among the top 5 in shots from the slot. Tonight, I think especially early on, we had our chances in third period. They kind of not as many, but, overall, I thought it was good and good enough to certainly score a few.
Outside of scoring chances generated and such, how would you describe the night overall for your group?
I thought overall it was a pretty good game, considering we're playing back-to-back. Often you get emotional, upset after a game when you win and lose. So often you win a game, you're happy with everything the way it went, and lose, and you are negative and thinking about all the things that you did wrong. And there were mistakes, there were things that we could have done better. We lost the special teams battle again. We had some opportunities to score goals. We didn't capitalize. But, overall, I thought should not necessarily saying we should have won, but when you say you should have won, it's often you dominated. We didn't dominate tonight, but I thought it could have been a lot closer game.
Chris, you mentioned the special teams. Your penalty kill gives up one, and Adam said he took responsibility, felt he took a wrong turn on that one. And then you had a power play early in the third and just didn't really gain any momentum. Sometimes you don't score in your power play, but it can be a momentum builder. Right now, it seems like more of like a momentum sponge than it is a builder.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't. I don't think we generated very much. There was 2 shot attempts, but it wasn't really scoring chances. We're talking about scoring chances 5-on-5. I think we've done well, but we haven't drawn many power plays to really generate things and kind of get in a rhythm and build on something. So, something we'll have to look at.
The PK was leaking at the start of the season, and you kind of thought it would level out over time. It doesn't seem to be happening. What do you see is going on there on the PK?
Yeah, there's no trends. Like, there's not we're giving up point shots is off the entry. It's, a lot of the metrics are pretty good on the penalty kill side of it. On zone denials, shots from the slot, preventing, and just some mistakes, and they're going in. Tonight, one mistake and went in, and it wasn't necessarily, usually you say that's on the goaltenders, but, came from the slot. But, it's doing a lot of good things, and there'll be a time where we're talking about how good it looks right now.
It's a lot of the same guys that were here last year, but there were a couple of subtle personnel changes. Is that playing into the factor, or is it just taking a little while for everybody to get used to some new things, or is that not a factor?
I think early on it definitely was. The pressure points, everyone going when to go. I think the pressure has been pretty good. The clears have been much better, but just we got to find it. It's close, but we're going to find it.
Chris, how did you?
Not at 60%. They're not finding it right now on the PK.
Like, come on, Tom. Like, some self-reflection. Like, you're terrible, man. You're at what, 60% a month into the season? And the metrics and no. It's terrible. Just say it's terrible. Sorry.
I'll say it. It's terrible. It sucks really bad right now. The PK is awful and unreliable. All you can rely on it to do is allow goals. That's exactly what it did, going 0-for-1 tonight against the New Jersey Devils. All right, we've got a couple minutes to go here as we wind things down on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream Postgame show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you, 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. And if you're watching on YouTube, the chat has been pretty lively today, as it always is. We thank you, as always. Like, share, subscribe, give it the thumbs up on YouTube, please, and thank you. Let's go to a Teef. Old Wheels says, good evening. The Oilers ran into a hot goalie in Jake Allen. He played very well. When a goalie's on his game, it takes a fluke goal to go, and I wanted to say thank you to the best sports crew in Edmonton. I've taken my talents south of the border for 5 days. My EST hat is coming for the trip to Dallas, Texas. Some of the team leaves at 6 a.m. in the morning. The rest of the team leaves on Wednesday at 6. Atif. Good luck to you and the
Go
Sledge Hockey
Wheels.
team. Go Wheels. Go get it done, buddy. Representing Edmonton. I know you guys are going to be wearing the Oilers uniforms. Wear that EST hat loud and proud down in Dallas. And I understand. Jake Allen did make some good saves tonight for the New Jersey Devils. Kulak says, Donnie M asking if Kulak is a top 4D. Kulak's very reliable. I think Kulak is a great number 5D, third pairing left side guy. I think he's perfect right there. Very, very reliable. I don't know. I guess he could moonlight in the top 4, but that is not the solution going forward. Piss Jug texts in. Good old PJ.
Yeah.
PJ says, hey, Tommy and Hernan, it's PJ here. It's nice watching a hockey game without 10,372 gambling commercials in a 3-hour period. Amazon Prime, thank you. So there's someone. PJ likes the Amazon Prime broadcast. And then Eden was talking about the hits earlier. And SJ Not in the Kootenai says, exposed, too slow, no depth, 4 NHLD, 0 goaltending. JCD 780 says the broadcast was good. Kootenai Time Tim says, I like the pressure off the top, lots of digging in, getting to the net, but as soon as New Jersey scored, it's like the game was over in their mind. Stop driving the net. They just seem kind of give up. Frustrating loss to a very good New Jersey team. And Shaggy in St. Albert. Shaggy, sorry I missed you earlier. Shaggy says, this was a scheduled loss in my mind. I don't blame Pickard. Major defensive lapses on the team. As usual, can blame the piss-poor special teams and lack of finish on this offensively challenged team. Outshot the Devils 2-1, but Devils finished their chances. Once they easily scored the 2-0 goal on the power play, you knew this game was over, and only question was Jake Allen going to get the shutout, and he did. Once again, Oilers make an average goalie look like an all-star. Oilers keep this uninspired play up, and they'll force McDavid to come back earlier than he should, but that's the Oilers' way. Nanso, anything else from you tonight?
No, it's just a tough one. Everybody knew they were going to play a really good team, a rested team. And again, I don't think the Oilers were terrible on the night. They just couldn't finish scoring. And the details, man, the special teams, defensive awareness at times, only 16 shots. So they weren't terrible on the night. I thought they had really good moments in this game. And it's not going to get easier, Tom. Big one on Wednesday, and they need to bounce back here. So we'll see what the status of McDavid is and if there's any line juggling ahead of Wednesday game. But all in all, it was a fun game, good broadcast, and unfortunate for Oiler fans, they couldn't find the back of the net.
The Oilers back on the ice tomorrow for practice, optional. So we'll see who's out there. And I think, I'll be down there for the practice. And I think maybe Reed will make his way down to the rink and we'll get you updated on the Oil. We'll see where McDavid's at. If he skates with the team for his first full practice with the group, he did take part in the optional today. What am I saying? They're optional tomorrow as well. So we'll see if he's back out there. I would assume he is. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. It was a fun show, lively. Hernan got a bit fired up. Nice to see the Latino Heat all picante on a night where the Oil lose. They are 6-1 on the season. They wrap up this brief 2-game homestand on Wednesday night when they take on the Vegas Golden Knights, who are tied with LA atop the Pacific Division standings. That game, 6:30 as well. Back on Sportsnet. We'll be live on the air for the pregame show at 5:30. For Matt Kassian, Reed Wilkins, Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You know we love you and we appreciate you. Have yourselves a great night. Ciao for now.